India and England News presents a 4-part series with the Boston entrepreneur and philanthropist Prashanth Palakurthi. In the final and 4th episode, we will discuss Purification of Prashanth Palakurthi by a Hindu priest in Bali and upcoming Juju Productions projects in 2020.
Now let's move to some funny stuff.
Yes, sir.
And as you know, by this time our audience know that you don't believe in God, you are atheist. So my question to you is that if you are atheist, don't believe in God, why you will go to Bali and get your purification by a Hindu priest? So first explain the purification, and does that purification have any impact? Has it purified you? You can start anyway.
I think, purification of me is going to be difficult in this lifetime. And I don't think I can.
So how did you even got convinced to get purified?
So it starts with, anthropology. I mean, I love history. I love mankind. I want to see how we progress as a civilization. So if you go back to 300, so I was deeply embarrassed, not this one, but the earlier trip to India. I didn't know the strength and the might of the Kalinga Empire. Every Indian, please go read up on the Kalinga Empire. If you are interested in anthropology, please read about it, because in our history books, it is half a page. It talks about how the king lost Ashoka and how Ashoka became a Buddhist after that, and it's completely wiped out. Please read about the great dynasty based on Orissa, the Kalinga dynasty. And in 300 BC, they used to send ships to Southeast Asia for trade. This is my view, my feeling. Some of those ships went to Bali, where they took a religion and went there. So that is one wave. So this is 300 BC wave. 300 BC to 100 BC, right? Then the second wave was the Cholas. Again, fantastic naval force, probably the world's best naval force in those years, 1000 AD onwards. They went to Java and set up. So Hinduism itself underwent a huge transformation between 300 BC and 1000 AD. Because Lord Vishnu became, with Vishnu Purana in 200 AD, 300 AD, they became, Vishnu took over from Indra and Bhaskara and Vayu as a big god. So Cholas took Vishnu, Maheshwara, Saraswati, Sita, Rama, all of that. They took it to Java. Within Java, there was a local battle in which they lost. So some of them, a king took a shipload of those people and went up to Bali. So I think when we went to Bali, when we went to see a dance show, Ramayana show, it was amazing to see how the mix is between Odia, the Tribang of Odia, and Bharatnatyam hand moves. The match between Odissi dance and Bharatnatyam I could see in that form. It was breathtaking to see how these people went 2,500 years ago, set up a civilization whose values these people are carrying. So when you go to Bali today, almost every house has a statue of a god in the front. They are very open about it. But if you go to a temple, there are no statues.
It's a Hindu god.
It's a Hindu god. All of them are Hindu god. So if you go to a temple, there's nothing inside. There's an angan in the front where people take their problems, and the temple is there. So that was built in 750 AD, the one I saw. The oldest temple on the planet that I saw was in Bali, not in India. And I'm from India. 750 AD, the temple was there. I saw one in 800 AD in Kanjivaram. But 750 AD, there's only one.
How old is the Balaji temple?
Balaji temple is 1900 something.
Okay, so it's relatively new. Yeah. Okay.
Relatively new.
Okay, go ahead.
So when you go there, you get immersed in this culture and you start wondering what they're doing. So I went to, the hotel, every hotel you stay in Upendra, in the front there's a statue of a god. So in my hotel where we were staying, Juju and I, the god was Ganesha. So as a part of understanding the local culture, the hotels offer Hindu traditions so that you understand where this country originated. So you go there and there's a purification ceremony. So obviously I wanted to go to it because I wanted to see what is the purification ceremony and how did these people get it and from where did they get it. And Juju of course goes, any religious thing, Juju, any god. You say a prophet did this, she'll go and worship. She'll say,
and Juju, Anuradha,
my wife, So any god she'll go and worship. Her first mode is she's a deep believer. She's the exact opposite, almost in everything in my life. Okay, from me.
Except the love, right?
Love it. Yeah. I think that's why she loved me. Anyway, so we went to this temple. I have some pictures I can send you. the purification ceremony, Upendra, when I sat down, the rituals were very similar to Hinduism. They were coconut water and stuff like that. Things were very South Indian traditions were there. But it was amazing for me to see it begins with Om Bhaskara. Now, if you see sun god being worshipped, is actually Rigvedic tradition. So the prayers begin with their Rigvedic roots, which are probably from 300 BC, Kalinga Empire. Then they go into Maheshwara, Vishnu, Brahma, which probably came from the Cholas. The whole is like a 1 hour ceremony. We sat in the hot sun and to get the ceremony done. And then they make you go around and they put coconut water in. I mean, a lot of rituals attached to it.
So now my question to you is, so when you decided to do the ceremony, it was purely from anthropological point of view?
Of course.
Not from any religious point of view?
Well, I have no soul. My soul is already too dark. So it cannot be purified.
Okay. So I was stunned that, how an atheist is going to go through the religious purification ceremony. But I'm glad you did that. So now my question to you is, has it worked so far, or
purification? No, I'm incurable. From the age of 7, I'm incurable. But I think it is very interesting to see how that transformed that island. The local people, how they speak to each other, how they conduct themselves, is deeply influenced by Hindu values. It's very amazing.
Yeah, I know the whole that also Thailand as well. If you go to these, they're very much influenced by Buddhism and.
So, for example, when I went to Dubai, one of the most transformational experience for me on this trip was a visit to Dubai for 4 nights. I saw how in 2015 versus now, how that island has become a fantastic oasis of people who seek prosperity. So in this trade that we make between belief and prosperity, the United Arab Emirates, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and now Saudi Arabia, Qatar, they're all voting for prosperity. It is a sign of great joy for me, and I'm very optimistic about mankind.
So on that note, what do you think that what is happening in Israel and among the Palestinians, what will be your perfect solution to that issue in the whole global context?
Look, we can keep on fighting. So 1860 is the first time they started skirmishing. It's now 1925. You can keep on fighting for another 1,000 years and generate millions of people who are actually apartheid, almost like apartheid. They're living in cages. All these people. It's very unfair. It is very unfair. I don't know a single Jewish person who approves of this killing of 20,000 people, out of which majority are Muslims and women and children. Nobody approves it. So what has happened is that property is blocking your path to prosperity. What would I do if I were the head of Palestine? Presuming they let me be the head of Palestine for some time. I would go to Israel and negotiate them to buy out Gaza and West Bank, all the territories from me, but build me a new city for my 7-8 million people. In 30 years, Palestine will become one of the most, they are very cultured people, Upendra.
And very smart too.
Look at their history. They come from 4000 BC, the race of, they are not some, they're very intelligent people with a deep-rooted sense of history. If you give them an opportunity, if you give them capital, if you give them schools, and which Israel can happily, instead of buying Patriot missiles, Israel is far better at building 4 universities. So, somewhat like a NATO agreement, if Israel signs with Palestine, so both of them protect each other, and they're together in this journey, and they're same. It's like us and Pakistan, Upendra, they're same people. I don't know how long we'll keep on fighting with Pakistan. 75 years. Kashmir, I'm saying 50 years block out. No talk of Kashmir, no talk of religion. Prosperity. Every single time you have an opportunity, you have to trade property for prosperity. And that path of prosperity makes your people better. Otherwise, you'll create multi-generational despair. So Palestine, what will happen now after all these people are killed? You give them, all the buildings are broken. Look at the state of the Gaza now. Would you live there, Upendra?
No, I mean, they were wondering who's going to go back there and how much time and energy and money it will take to rebuild.
How many children, how many more people will be killed? How many more future will be abandoned? So mine is an out-of-box solution. I will be laughed at, but if I were Palestine, I would negotiate handing over everything, but telling them, look, here are the 6 religious spots that are important to me. You have to build 6-lane highways from wherever I am to this place, so my people can come and worship on Friday or whatever. I'm respectful. I'm respectful of people who do that.
Okay. Now, last part on the question of prosperity.
Yeah.
You started Reflexes.
Yes, sir.
Sold it at a good amount.
Yes, sir.
And now you are really following your...
Not as good as it should be, but it is.
But yeah, I mean, I've been very good, I think.
Yeah.
And now you are following your passion with the Juju Productions and music and all this stuff. So if you can briefly give us an overview of Juju Productions, what you are doing and what your immediate goals are with that project.
Yeah, I am very excited about what we did with Juju Productions. Okay? In August, we were in Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in Abbey Road Studio. We recorded 9 songs. One song was the Indian national anthem, which we gifted to India. Vicky Cage composed it, but we underwrote it, Juju and I. And Prime Minister Modi tweeted that. This is the first time ever that the Indian national anthem was played by RPO in Abbey Road, and very proud moment for India. They made it. And the music was exemplary. The second song that we did was a COP28, United Nations. So for Juju to be a singer, you have that old episode from here to a place where she's singing the theme song of the United Nations Climate Change Program, where 170 heads of state, policymakers are there. It's a matter of great pride for me that my wife is pursuing her passion with such success. It's not possible for normal people to do what she's doing. She's very, very gifted, and I'm proud of her. So that was also done in Royal Philharmonic. Third song we are doing, Upendra, which is going to be spectacular. And this goes back to Indian history, anthropology. Indian civilization is the only one where the goddess of education is also the goddess of art and music, Saraswati. Right, Upendra? But in our education system today in India, there is no music. But there are hundreds of research papers that show by adding this music to the curriculum for kids, primary and below primary, kindergarten, they become better rounded individuals. So I want to create a national movement for introducing classical Indian music. Not that we're going to make tansiyan, but at least people should know what is, what is Shadaj and what is Rishabh. They should know that.
Sure.
So for that, Juju and we created a song called Hey Sharde, Hey Sharde Vreenavati, which is a Marathi song recorded again. This was a Saraswati Vandana. We are going back to Saraswati and saying, guys, look, this is what Indian culture said. We have to go back to those roots and put in second one. But I'm most excited about my big project, 6 songs, I'm creating. It's called Jatayu, the story of Jatayu. I built it in the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, right? The story in Western classical music, composed by a guy called Pedro Osuna from California, and Juju is going to sing there, probably a male singer, I don't know. This is the story of Jatayu, and for me, Jatayu is one of the most compelling stories. Juju loves Jatayu. He's a favorite character in Ramayana. Ramayana, favorite character. And I'll tell you what Jatayu means to me, Upendra. In any society, if you want to progress as a people, you have to stand for your neighbor. Not that you will win all the time, not that you know him. He could be living 20 streets, houses down, but if he's a thief robbing that, you have to step in and help your friend. Jatayu is a bird. And the people who are stealing, the person who's stealing Sita is a 10-headed evil monster, the big god. The bird stands up to him and says, hey, you cannot do this. You cannot take her away like this, it's wrong. It negotiates, it fights, it dies for it. And it falls down on the ground, it dies. But when it dies, it tells Rama who took Sita away. So even in death, a neighbor is pointing to the solution of the problem. So if you do not want to be a Jatayu, if you do not want to be a good citizen, you cannot build a good society without good neighbors. If you all say government should do this, police should do this, army should do this, UNO should do this, that's not where it is. It starts from us. How are we going to treat our neighbor? How are we going to respect our neighbor? Societies are built like this. So I want to focus on this model of Jatayu. What brought this to light for me was there's this guy in Uttar Pradesh. He was killed. His name was Atiq Khan. Atiq Khan. He was a guy who had 100 murders on him, terrorist, and allegedly the chief minister took him out of Yogi. And people were blaming Yogi for it. Fine, it is extrajudicial killing, it's wrong. Okay, it's state encounters, should not be allowed. I get that. But 10 years before that, this guy, there was a woman testifying against him sitting in a train. His hoodlums went to the train and killed that woman and walked away. It's a train station in India. How many people you think are there, Upendra? 1,000?
Sure.
Thousands of you neighbors could not stand up to one woman being killed.
Hmm.
Now you're blaming your yogi, you're blaming the sky, you're blaming religion. What? You're blaming everything other than yourself. Jatayu is the spirit of creating fantastic communities, fantastic societies where a neighbor can trust that the other neighbor will come to you in there. You cannot build a great country without being a good neighbor.
Excellent.
And this is what I want to do in Jatayu.
Excellent.
So 18 minutes piece, and I want a very good ballet company to perform it Western.
And when it is coming out, do you have any?
Or next year sometime. I'm sorry, this year, maybe October. I have to make the ballet and
Okay.
a lot of work. It's going to be Western classical music, story of Jatayu. I don't think, and told by music from Royal Philharmonic, recorded at Abbey Road Studio, and my beautiful wife. Oh, she's divine.
Excellent. Yeah, sure. We all agree on that, and what a wonderful singer she is as well.
Thank you.
Prashanth, thank you so much for joining us, and it was a really fun conversation. We touched so many topics, and thank you so much for that.
I hope your channel is not blacklisted by Modi government or by
Bob Kraft,
or by I don't know, Organization of Islamic Countries. Oh, please don't ban us. We're just friends.
Well, this is a public.
Conversation.
This is a public information, and I'm sure that we'll get some feedback from our viewers and readers.
You must tell us.
And we will let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prashanth.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Sure.